1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. I've been on the west side, cause that's where I stay.
What's up everyone? Mitch here with Fit for Moto. First of all, can we talk about how Canadian this is? Plaid on plaid? What can I say? It gets really cold where I live in Canada, which is the purpose for today's video. Check this out. Studded tires. Never bought a set before, but I've never ridden in the snow. I've never ridden on ice before. I've always been kind of, riding in the nicer weather, going down to California, that kind of thing. So this is going to be a big step for me. And I wanted to share that with you and give you my two thoughts on how well these studded tires actually do ride in the snow and the ice. So I'm going to throw these things on the KTM. Let's get it done.
Feeling like the man, I'm my own boss now. Telling all my exes, now they getting crossed out. Been on the west side, cause that's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. Popping on the west side, cause that's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. I already blew up, man, I know I would okay. Who the hell is you to tell the dude that I ain't great?
We're out at Wild Rose MX in Calgary, Alberta today. Beautiful day. As you can see, we got enough snow, which is great because we're trying out the Sport Extreme 454 winter traction studded tires.
20 racks to wrap up on the stage, huh? I invested that right back to my estate, huh? Dinner table, everyone gon' get a play, Started with $5 bills, shoot for dollars in the Ville. I'm in the villa, I'm counting the spiller. My mama say I gotta chill. Turn it down, record deals. Now I got a couple mil. Automated all the bills. I'm concerned about the thrills. I'm on a yacht with a big booty, 10 out of 10, little mama. I'm on a tour bus, moving around the country.
So I've never actually ridden in snow before, which I know is kind of weird because living in Canada, living where I live, obviously the opportunity is there, but I've always been, I like riding on drier dirt, maybe a little bit of mud, but even then I'm not a huge mud guy. So this is the first time I've ever bought any studded tires, and I wanted to give you my honest review on what I thought. So first things first, the number one thing that I would want to know would be how well do they hook up? How much traction do you actually get with these things? And I'm gonna tell you, it's like riding on a somewhat muddy track, but it's got a dry line in it. So if you have a line that's cut into a track or a trail and you're running these studded tires, what you're gonna find is, as long as you stay in that one line, it's totally fine. Like you're gonna get enough traction, you can wheelie, you can do all the jumps, you can do everything that you need to do. They hook up that well. But as soon as you get outside of that, where there's some fresh snow and there's no tracks or anything like that, you're gonna find that it's like riding on a mud track. You kind of have to cut your way back onto that dry spot or the line that's cut into the snow, and you'll hook up again and away you go. So if you're riding on if it's just ice, these things will hook up incredibly, but if there's some snow that it has to get out of the way, that kind of thing, you're gonna find that, like I say, it's like riding on a sloppy track until you get into that dry line, and then honestly, you guys, it is money. These things hook up and it is so much fun.
I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today. I'ma blow today. I ain't hearing what they say. Need a blow.
So next up, let's talk about options. Let's talk about price point. So for me, I went to the local dealership, and again, shout out to Tyler at CycleWorks Calgary for giving me such a smoking deal on these tires. Normally these will run you about $1,000, so about $500 a tire, which I know is a ton of money. And even me being the average guy, I was pretty hesitant on wanting to spend that much money on these tires, but I gotta tell you, it was worth every penny. I am having an absolute blast out there ripping around in the snow. This really has extended my riding season personally, so I'm super happy I got them.
Cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow today.
You can get some less expensive options. You'll see a lot of guys will put, I think it's like concrete studs or something in their tires, which you can do. There's, you can tap the studs in yourself. You can get them off of various dirt bike sites and just drill them into the studs or drill them into the knobbies yourself. I have seen that guys will put in like some Gorilla Glue or something like that to kind of hold the studs into the knobby. So if you're looking at doing that yourself, so definitely do your homework, look up some tips on that. But I will say too that, and this is something I didn't know, but there are some angles that you have to actually put the studs in at so that they grip properly. So you can't just tap them all in, or I guess maybe you could, but I probably wouldn't recommend that because there are some angles that aren't the best thing at play. So again, do your homework before you just go and slap some studs into your home tire. Also be careful when you're running kind of a home jobby, because if you don't install them right, or even if you do install them right, right, you are going to be running a risk of actually puncturing that tube too. So that's another thought to give with the Sports Extreme ones. You don't run that much risk because the studs are actually melted right into the knobby, so you don't run as much risk of popping a tube, whereas the home jobbies, you know, depending on how deep you're actually embed the stud into the knobby, you might run into problems with that. So I didn't want those headaches. I just wanted to come out, ride my KTM, have loads of fun.
Blow the day, popping on the west side, cause that's where I stay. I just made 1,000, do it in your face. I've been going in, I'm a
So another thing that I'll touch on just really briefly is the installation of these tires. They mount just like any other dirt tire, but one thing that you're going to find when you're mounting them is that because of the studs on them, they're really quite sharp. So you can't just push on the tire, you know, to break the bead. You really do have to be quite careful because they'll stab you in the hand. They're kind of a pain in the butt that way to install, but they do install just like any other dirt tire, which I'll put the link somewhere up here on how to do a tire change if you haven't seen that already. So installation is pretty simple. So we've talked about traction. I mean, like I say, they hook up really, really well. We've talked about price point. They're a little bit on the expensive side. Honestly, they are. And I can understand if people don't want to fork over the money for them. Having never ridden in snow, never ridden on ice, anything like that, it's super fun out there. I'm super glad that I bought them. You know, by all means, you can go with a cheaper version, maybe throw the studs in yourself. You don't necessarily have to drop $1,000 on a set like these. So with that said, go out, grab yourself some studded tires. You're not going to regret it.
I need more than just a taste. Now they tryna talk, they should know their place when I'm ballin'. This ain't cap, baby, now I feel like calling. From the O, but I got the music poppin'. All the time, man.
Hope you liked this video, guys. I hope it gave you some help. If it did, like, comment, and smash that subscribe button for me. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Cause it's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, now I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man, I gotta blow the day. Popping on the west side, cause it's where I stay.